Hello, everybody. Joseph Smith from Travel Tax here. Today is Valentine's Day 2021. Last Monday, February 8th, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals came out with their long awaited decision in the Vernon Maxwell Clarke versus American Mobile case, specifically their Nurse Choice Division. What's the big deal about this case? Before I begin, if you are interested in reading the case, go to our blog, which can be accessed from our website at www.traveltax.com. And in the top part, in the menu section, you'll see a link to our blog. So what is the big deal about this case? Why is this so important? Well, to give you the big picture of what the case addressed, the case looked at the compensation packages that were in place that involved the particular nurses that brought the suit. And it looked at the fact that whenever a shift was missed or a group of hours were missed, that the per diems, those reimbursements for lodging and meals, were withheld, clawed back, held back, whatever word you want to use. They were held back by the exact hourly equivalent of the per diem. So if you got $400 a week for lodging and meals and you worked 40 hours a week, the per diems would be held back, say, by $50 if you missed 5 hours. The court went on to look at the fact that the per diems are in effect being paid like wages. And per diems, as most of you know, are daily rates for lodging and meals, that they are not hourly rates. They are reimbursements for the lodging and meal expenses that we incur when we are away from home working our assignment. So the court looked at the fact, well, you're paying them like a wage, just like you pay the taxable wage. So they need to be included in the overtime base. And as you know, if you work overtime, you have to pay a minimum of 1.5 times the regular rate. And that is the taxable rate. But what the courts looked at was the fact that per diems being paid by the hour, they're really in disguise a wage or a substitute for a wage. So they have to be included in that baseline when you calculate overtime. And as we know, this is far more acute in California because overtime doesn't just start at 40 hours, it starts after 8 hours in a shift. So anytime you work 12 hours, you have built in 4 hours of overtime for your shift. Now, I am not an attorney, and I can only speculate. I'm not going to claim any kind of magic powers and look into the future, but I have been asked, where do you think this is going to go, Joe? One of the things that was brought out in this case is that in other circuits, given the same facts as this case, the ruling was different. If you know anything about our court system, our courts are divided up into circuits based on geography. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is in the West Coast of California. And for any time that one circuit says one thing and another circuit says another thing, you have to go to the next highest court to resolve the conflict. In this case, the next highest court is the Supreme Court. Will this be appealed? We have yet to know. The Ninth Circuit of Appeals remanded the case, in other words, it sent it back down to the district court that had originally ruled differently and asked them to resolve the problem. But it can be appealed. What are some other possibilities that we might see? Well, the whole crux of the matter is hours are being missed. And it's not always the traveler that is the culprit. Yes, we have coworkers that we roll our eyes at because they're always chronically calling out. That's life. We always have that. But it's the facilities that oftentimes are the culprits here because they're the ones that are docking the hours. So how do you handle that? Because the agencies make their money by being able to place staff and to fulfill their hours. One thing I see is a stronger monitoring of the culprits. If you have a traveler that has a chronic history of calling out, or more importantly, a facility that has a chronic history of canceling shifts, maybe we will be less inclined to have a contract with this facility. That's one possibility. We may see a restructuring of the contracts. All this has to play out, so it will be interesting to see how things are addressed as we go on to the future. And as always, subscribe to our blog, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can keep up to date on the latest news. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to email us at info@traveltax.com. Thank you. Have a great night.